Good morning, Oswego. Thanks for waking up with us. You're watching Top in the Morning. I'm Olivia Eugenio. Coming up this morning, there have been more meth investigations in Oswego, and more than 30 neglected pets were found in a house in Madison County. We'll have more on that coming up in just a minute, but first let's take a quick check of your weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Rob Camille. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Olivia, and good morning, Oswego. Storm Team 10 meteorologist Rob Camille here with a quick look at your forecast right now outside the campus center here at SUNY Oswego. We're currently at -1 degrees. That's really cold, really cold this Thursday morning. The good news is it is pretty sunny outside. There's only a couple passing clouds here and there, and there's not much wind to go with it as well, so it's shaping up to be a pretty decent Thursday morning, except for the temperature. Radar's pretty quiet as well around much of the state. The only thing that's popping up right now is a couple snow showers centered right over the city of Toronto, Ontario. But otherwise, throughout New York State, central New York, the Finger Lakes region, we're pretty much dry here. Blue skies, a couple passing clouds, not really too much to speak of. Here's what we're going to be talking about this morning. A frigid Thursday morning on hand. The good news is it warms up a little bit by tomorrow. The only downside is the snow does come back by the weekend, but not for long. How's the rest of your weekend looking like? I'll have your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, I'm going to send it back to the desk with Olivia for a look at your top stories.
Thank you, Rob. Meth labs are on the rise in Oswego County. After a meth bust on Tuesday, this year is looking to top last year's overall record with 7 meth busts in 2013. According to Captain Charles Tonkin, meth began popping up around the city in 2012. Before then, a meth bust was very rare. He believes now more people are turning to meth. Tuesday's meth bust was the first methamphetamine bust of 2014. Over 30 neglected animals were found in a house in Madison County. Madison County police officers received an anonymous tip on Saturday and could not believe what they found. The 30 cats and dogs were living in a barn outside the houses, which was covered in feces and wood shavings, and the animals were freezing. The animals have been taken out of the house and are now receiving care. An inmate at the Auburn County Correctional Facility injured 2 correctional officers last night after a random frisk. Amir Douglas was found with a metal cutting object and not allowed at the correctional facility. When officers found the small object, he quickly swallowed it. The officers were eventually able to restrain Douglas, but not before he had bruised the shoulders and hands of one officer and gave minor cuts to the other. Douglas is sentenced to 25 years to life. Getting children to eat healthy meals is not just a problem at home, but also at school. A new study by the Harvard School of Public Health looks at what kids are eating and how healthy changes in the menu are making a difference.
Sorry. We were really asked to.
Sure, how's that look?
Order trash. You don't want to let someone else.
We apologize for those technical difficulties, but coming up, we'll take a full look at your weather forecast with meteorologist Rob Camille. But first, check out this morning's beautiful Oswego sunrise.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me back.
You can figure out Jody's gonna be
Hey, did you tell your parents about us? Let's skip first period together. Did you get all my texts? Is practice over yet? Where are you at? Are you with your friends? That's L-A-A-A-M-M-E-E-E. Capital X, lowercase o, capital X, lowercase o.
I love you. JK. I hate you. JK.
Are you ignoring me?
We're in a huge fight right now.
Is this something I did?
I can see your lights on. I'm coming
This
over.
isn't a
What'd you
joke.
dream about?
Me?
I'm lonely. Holla back. Holla back. Let's try something new. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Rob Camille. So Rob, a bunch of people are taking the trip to Geneseo this weekend to see that major hockey game. How is the weather going to look for them?
Well, the good news is it's going to be a little bit warmer, but there is a chance that we could see a little bit of snow coming into the area for the weekend. I'll get to that in just a little bit, but right now, looking at your current conditions outside, we are taking a look at our wonderful forecast right now outside the campus center. -1 degrees is where the thermometer is at right now. I don't know about you, that sounds pretty darn cold to me. The good news is, though, it is pretty sunny outside, just a couple passing clouds here and there, and there's not much wind to speak of either. The wind is pretty calm right now here on the campus. Going around the rest of the state, it's just cold everywhere right now. Some places are seeing single digits. The warm spot right now is in New York City at 16 degrees, 9 degrees in Poughkeepsie, 2 in Binghamton, 3 in Buffalo, and then as you get further north, you just get beyond cold. -6 in Syracuse, -8 in Rochester, getting up to as high as as low as 10 and 16 below. There's one spot in particular that's extremely cold this morning. Saranac Lake, New York, checking in at 25 degrees below zero this morning, so definitely pretty cold if you're up in the Adirondacks and the Tug Hill Plateau. Looking at your top weather headlines for today, a frigid Thursday morning. Frigid is the key word. It is cold outside, folks. Make sure that you dress at least in a couple of layers if you're going to be heading out there this morning. The good news, though, by tomorrow, we're warming back up into the 30s, which is more typical for early March. Now, the one thing that we want to look at is there's a chance of snow in the forecast right in time for the Lakers championship game in Geneseo against the Ice Knights. The good news is, though, the snow chance doesn't last for long. I'll get to that in just a little bit. The regional radar right now, pretty quiet around much of upstate New York. Only thing showing up on radar right now is a localized band of snow showers, but that's all the way up in Toronto. Finger Lakes, central New York, we're pretty much dry as far as we're concerned. Here's your setup for your Thursday, and this pretty much says it all. Another cold day, high pressure just sitting right on top of northern New York, bringing in that clockwise flow. That brings in that cold air from Canada. So pretty much the entire New England into upstate New York, down into the mid-Atlantic, into the New York metro is going to be pretty cold, at least for your Thursday. As we check out your day planner for the day, most places hovering around 0, some places above 0, some places below 0, but definitely a frigid start out there for your Thursday. As we warm up to the noontime hours, we get up to 15 degrees by the time you're heading out for lunch. We're going to hit our high of 23 at about the 2 o'clock hour today. By 5 o'clock, we're still in the low 20s, and it's still pretty sunny, so at least it's a nice day out here in Oswego. As we take a look at our forecast for tonight, we're getting down to the 10-degree mark, not as cold as it was last night when we actually hit 10 below 0 in Central Square at one point. Mostly clear, still pretty cold though, winds still pretty calm out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now looking at your setup for Friday, it's going to be a little bit warmer, and here's why. We've got some mild air coming in, and we kind of have this sort of chasm, not really a chasm, but like a canyon almost, in between two different precipitation systems, low pressure along the mid-Atlantic coast and up towards the Great Lakes. Now these are going to be bringing in some, this one in particular is going to be bringing in colder air. This is the leading edge of a cold front that's going to be moving in Saturday into Sunday, so it's going to be a little bit colder as we go through your weekend. As you can see here, some fresh cold air moving in from Midwestern Canada down into the Great Lakes region. This mild air is going to push off at least for a little bit as we look at our 5-day forecast. The temperatures warm up up, almost hitting the 40-degree mark as we get into your Friday, but there's that snow chance coming in for Saturday as the Laker men take on Geneseo in the SUNYAC championship game in Geneseo. 33 degrees for your high here in Oswego. Chance of snow, not really too much accumulation associated with this. By Sunday, when we're moving those clocks ahead for daylight savings time, 30 degrees for the high, and by the start of your work week next week, we're back into the mid-30s with mostly cloudy skies. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to send it back over to the desk with Olivia for a look at more of your national news.
Thank you, Rob. Now turning to state news, a story close to home for me. 21-year-old Remy Jose has been missing since Monday. The Shaker High School alum was on spring break in Panama City when he went for a walk Sunday evening and never returned. Jose's family arrived in Panama City Wednesday to help search for Remy. For anyone with information, please contact the authorities. May 518 remain 518 strong. Another member of the state-funded news program Russia Today has quit. Anchor Liz Wall closed the show in a video that has gone viral, stating her dislike for Putin and the Russian-funded station.
RT is not about the truth. It's about promoting a Putinist agenda, and I can tell you firsthand, it's also about bashing America. And I kind of cited some of my background, where I came from and why I am proud to be an American. In recent days, I've been suffering from a lot of cognitive dissonance and felt that I could no longer work here and go on television and tell the American people that this is what's happening and have it pose as news.
2 days ago, Abby Martin, another anchor, quit the morning program for cutting interviews from her stories. The Russia Today officials have said the anchors are free to express their opinions and viewpoints. A man passing by Daytona Beach yesterday heard children screaming. Moments later, he was wading into the Atlantic Ocean. Police now say the pregnant woman who drove a minivan into the water is now awaiting a mental health evaluation. Andrew Spencer has more.
Are they saying help?
This is what Tim Tessanier saw as he drove across the sand of Daytona Beach.
We heard them plainly screaming for help, and I just threw my vehicle in park and just took off running. One kid was on the mother's lap, like wrestling her for the steering wheel.
He and Stacy Robinson tried to stop her.
I was telling her that you have to get out of the water. The kids are scared. This is, the police are coming. You're not supposed to be in the water.
She looked at us with this blank look, and it was just scary.
She just kept repeating that they were okay and they were fine.
But she was not okay, not according to her sister's call to 911 earlier that day.
I tried to take her to the hospital yesterday, and she signed herself out today. She's getting a little bit better, but she's still not all here.
A Daytona Beach police officer stopped the woman almost 2 hours before this scene played out on the beach on Tuesday. The officer and a detective did not think there was enough to actually detain the woman, even though they were concerned about her mental health. To the bystanders who rushed into the water to save her and her kids, one moment made her intentions very clear to them.
She just made a left turn and just like dove into the ocean with the van. One kid in the back seat screamed out, please help us. Our mom's trying to kill us.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Now we're going to take a look at what's happening in Oz with our very own reporter, Lauren Toscano. What's new, Lauren?
Hi, Olivia. Well, I am back this week for another weekly Delsart update. This week I got an interview with choreographer Kira Slater on what inspired her to create her dance and how she's preparing her girls for the spring recital. Let's take a look.
For me, I already had the dance figured out by the end of December, and I would just keep practicing it through all of January because I knew that I already had a song picked out and I really wanted to choreograph for Delsart. Well, basically, I'm drilling my dancers, but not to the extreme where I'm being really strict because you have to keep a good relationship so that they want to stay in your dance and just make it fun.
Until next week, that's what's happening in Oz. Make sure you check in next week for another Delsart update. I'm Lauren Toscano reporting for
All right, well, thank you, Lauren. So how is it, you know Kira personally, so how is it kind of seeing her go through the process of creating a dance? It must be crazy to just kind of be like, all right, maybe they'll go this way or maybe they'll go that way.
Actually, yes, since I actually had to teach her dance the other night because she
unfortunately broke her foot. So seeing actually getting into like choreographer mental state, it's crazy. A lot's going on and you have to worry about so much. I'm impressed with how these girls are putting these dances together.
I couldn't imagine that because you're sitting there and first of all, for you, it's not even your vision. So trying to kind of like stay true to her, but at the same time, kind of do your own thing. That must be really tough.
Yeah, and as a choreographer, trying to like put it all together the way that you want it to go, it's complicated, but it always works out in the end. They do a great job every year.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at your entertainment news with John Mangello. But first, let's take a look at today's lunch menu.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends, friends to go out with on a Saturday night, friends to hang out with and do nothing, friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Teaching a kid football is one thing. Keeping a kid in school, that's the name of my game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Welcome back to Top in the Morning here on WTOP 10 in Oswego. Storm Team 10 meteorologist Rob Camille here, back with another look at your forecast. I wanted to show you guys a quick photo of our beautiful Oswego sunrise. This was taken by our producer Aubrey Mulvey this morning on the east side of campus. Always great to see a beautiful sunrise like this. And as kind of a precursor for springtime weather, which hopefully should be here soon. I'm really hoping it gets here within the next couple weeks. It is March after all. We're springing ahead. With the clocks moving ahead for daylight savings time this weekend, so hopefully spring weather is quick to follow suit. This morning, though, frigid Thursday morning on hand. I wish it was a lot warmer, but unfortunately, we've got colder temperatures this morning. The good news is it's going to slowly warm up throughout the day. It's going to be a little warmer by Friday. The only downside is by Saturday, the snow comes back, but the good news with that, it's not back for long, and there's not much accumulation associated with it. Right now outside, though, thermometer is down at -1 below zero here on the campus. That's what it feels like outside. The good news is it's sunny, only a couple passing clouds here and there. Wind is pretty calm, too, so it's really just the cold that we have to deal with on this Thursday morning. Radar is also pretty quiet, too. Nothing for pretty much the entire state of New York. The only exception is a couple localized snow showers over Toronto and a few other snow showers up above Lake Champlain. But for the most part, we are dry for your Thursday. Looking at your day planner today, 8 a.m. waking up with us here. Frigid start. Most places around the 0 degree mark, some above, some below. By noontime, though, we're warming up to about 15 degrees. We'll hit our high of 23 during the early to mid-afternoon. And by 5 o'clock when you're heading home from class or heading home from work, 22 degrees is where we'll be at. And it's still going to be pretty sunny outside as well. And don't forget, folks, spring ahead this Sunday. Daylight savings begins at 2 a.m. So definitely a good setup for your Thursday. It's going to be pretty cold, and as we get into the weekend, it's going to start to warm up a little bit as well.
You know, I think the thing I always forget, when we do daylight savings, does that mean we gain an hour of sleep or does that mean we lose an hour? I always get them mixed up.
In the fall, we gain an hour. In the spring, we lose an hour. So make sure you stock up before Sunday because we're going to be going back. It's going to be a longer day on Sunday.
Rob Camille, you know, first you're the weatherman and you bring us snow, and then you tell me I'm getting an hour less sleep. It's just not looking good for you today.
You think I'm a fan of this either? I like my sleep.
Don't we all? And now we're going to take a look at your entertainment news with John Mangello.
Yes, good morning, Oswego, everybody out there in the world. Welcome here. So every Thursday, I bring you some of the biggest box office releases from this upcoming Friday because it's a big movie release day. And just for the record, I did beat Olivia in our Oscar predictions from last week. So I just want everybody to know that I am, in fact, the man when it comes to that. But there are 3 big movies that are coming out this excuse me, I am just losing my mind. There are 3 movies that are coming out this week, and we're going to start with one, an animated adventure, Mr. Peabody. Yes, it's an animated film. It's a family and friends pick of the day, if you're going to go with it. And I haven't seen it, but I assume it's about these 2 guys that are the best of friends go together on a magical adventure, and then they almost die somehow, but then they ultimately survive in the end, and it's all peachy keen, and they win. It currently holds an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, however, so if you're going to, I don't know, go bring your kids to something, this probably isn't a bad choice. And the second movie coming out, and it's 300 Rise of an Empire. Now, this is something that we've had a crazy, I guess, history with this because the general consensus is when it was first announced, everybody was begging for the sequel. And then it was announced, and everybody was like, wow, this is so cool. And now that the sequel's here, everybody's like, oh, wait, that actually happened? Oh, yeah, I'm not actually going to see that. So anyway, it's starring somebody from Game of Thrones is in it. So if you like Game of Thrones, be sure to check that out. It currently does have a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the third movie, if you're a hipster, if you like really well-written films, is Wes Anderson's latest, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Unfortunately, it's probably not opening here in Oswego, but it will be here soon, and it's great. It stars Ralph Fiennes, who you might know from Lord Voldemort, or He Who May Not Be Named from the Harry Potter universe, and it's currently got a solid 90%. And if you have to pick one movie this week, that's probably the one that I'm going to recommend because Wes Anderson also directed Moonrise Kingdom and Fantastic Mr. Fox, 2 Oscar-nominated films. So there you go. So moving on from there, we have something very interesting. So West Side Story is generally considered to be one of the greatest films ever made, even winning the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1961. Now, because of its legendary status, it has been one of the few Hollywood classics to have not been remade since its initial release. Well, that might be changing very soon because it has been reported multiple times that Steven Spielberg has an interest in remaking the film, and 20th Century Fox, who owns the movie's rights, has given him permission to do so if he wishes. Now, Fox has been telling filmmakers for years that they would never allow a remake, so it comes as a shock that they're letting Spielberg do it, especially since he's never done a musical before. But he is a Hollywood legend, so if anybody can do it, he would be the person. Still, the only statement they gave on to why they're allowing Spielberg is because, well, he just asked them. If only it were that easy to get a date, right, Rob? And in what has to be considered one of the strangest promotional crossovers ever, HBO will be releasing a 10-track rap mixtape about Game of Thrones. Yep, the network has confirmed that hip-hop artists Common, Wale, and Big Boy from Outkast have recorded tracks for the album. Now, the album music is a combination of Thrones-related lyrics over dialogue and orchestral music that fans should recognize from the show. Now, if you're scratching your head right now wondering who thought a Game of Thrones rap album was a good idea, they believe, who's HBO, that the album will appeal to the African American and Latino markets who are generally considered outliers on their demographic appeal. The album, in completely 100% originality, is being called Catch the Throne. Couldn't make that up if I tried, people. So,
wow.
It's free as of Friday.
As of
Friday,
So
tomorrow, it's free.
They're releasing it for free.
Free tomorrow. Catch the Throne, Game of Thrones, live.
So
what up?
How do they think that by releasing a rap album about stories that people don't understand, it's going to attract viewers?
Well, Game of Thrones is a phenomenal show. I love Game of Thrones.
As do I.
I bought all the seasons. I have them all in my room. I think it's interesting, but it's going to be very cheesy. But if it wasn't, it wouldn't be good. So
It's one of those things that you're going to have to sit around and laugh at all Saturday night.
yes, I'll be doing it. I will be.
All right, well, after the break, we're going to take a final look at your forecast with meteorologist Rob Camille. But first, let's take a look at your celebrity birthdays. You're watching WTOP 10 Top of the Morning.
So, April,
Yeah?
your charger's still using energy.
That's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
I got no pulse, so losing.
He's in vaping.
Shocking drives it road all the time. Just had a few drinks. This can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking. I got no pulse, so
Malcolm, you know energy savers last 6 times longer than regular bulbs.
This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's.
The basketball player? This is his room?
I don't live here. Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
Welcome back, Oswego. Now, Katy Perry, is a big star on the stage, but what happens when she steps in front of the weather wall?
25 with a shower or two and a possible storm for Canberra.
The pop star is in Australia to promote her upcoming world tour and thought she'd try her hand at forecasting the weather on 7 networks in Australia's morning show. The pronunciation of some cities tripped her up a bit, but Perry told viewers if they didn't understand her forecast, they could get the weather on their phone. Now, she's no Rob Camille, but I guess Australia will have to do. But turning to Rob Camille, let's see what our forecast has in store for us.
Oh, Olivia, you are too kind. Thank you very much. Looking at your 5-day forecast here, folks, it's going to be pretty cold to start out start at the end of your week, I guess you could say. 23 degrees for your high today. As we go through the day on Friday, we're going to warm up almost to the 40-degree mark. Saturday, when the Laker men take on Geneseo for the SUNYAC title and the Laker women take on Elmira in the ECAC West semifinal, there's going to be a chance of snow around. It's going to cool down on Sunday, and by the start of your week next week, we're going to be back up to the mid-30s. Now, Mr. John.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, John.
How art thou,
I am
Robert?
doing wonderful. I'm trying to figure out what you meant by that in the last shot in your story there.
All I'm saying is, us guys, and I asked Olivia to know, if it was just as simple as asking, nobody would have a relationship problem, and we'd all be happy.
I have to agree with that.
Did I mention you're looking fantastic this morning?
Thank you, John.
Can I just say that? Thank you so much.
John,
Purple is my
You
color.
might have to change your segment instead of movies to dating advice with John Mondello.
I'll do whatever. I mean, they're not paying me anyway, so I'll do whatever they want. So it's just fun.
That works.
Well, that'll do it for us here at WTOP 10 Top in the Morning. I'm Olivia Eugenio.
And I'm Rob Camille. Thanks for waking up with us this week. Enjoy your Thursday.